All right. Welcome everyone to the stream. Welcome Corbin. How's it going?
It's going good today.
Going good. We got some playoffs coming up here, and I th- I am quite interested in a lot of these matchups. Not only I think we got some entertaining games, I think there's some money to be won this weekend. So let's just get right into it. Saturday, we got two games. The first game of the day, we have the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. Um, the Browns are a 2-point favorite on the road. And this is a rematch, right? We just had this game.
Yep. Yeah. No. This is one of those ones that you think, well, it's going to go one way, and it can go completely sideways in the other way. Um, I don't know who to really pick here though in this
Yes,
one.
yes, this was 3 weeks ago, and the Browns won 36-22 in Houston. So they're going back to the same spot. We just was yeah, so it was
Yeah, it would
there
have been
was
a Flacco game.
there was no CJ Stroud in that game.
No, that
So
was a concussion, week one
yeah,
concussion. Yeah.
yeah. So no CJ Stroud. He's now back. I feel like he hasn't quite looked as good as he did before he got hurt.
Um,
Um, I know Tank Dell's gone and he was helping stretch the field. So it's really Nico Collins
Yeah, well,
that
Nico Collins
he's,
is actually healthy back again,
yeah,
playing, which is a big boost for that compared to that game. I don't think
yeah.
did Nico play in that game. I don't think he was in that game either.
Yeah, let me pull it up. He was. He got
He was.
four balls for 18 yards. So he
Yeah,
struggled getting loose against, again, there was not much, I don't know.
yeah.
Depends what you
He
think
was
of
just coming
Mills,
back.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and depends what you think of Mills. So, like the longest pass play for the Houston Texans that day was 19 yards to
I mean,
the
so
tight
yeah, it
end
wasn't
Jordan.
really. Yeah, it wasn't
I
really
yeah,
used.
I don't think we can take a lot from that game to determine what's going to be going on here. What we can take though is the Browns have just kept finding a way to win
Yeah, that
all
defense
year.
is
The
dirty.
the
It's a
the,
great defense. They're
the
just winning
defense is
games for them.
great. Yeah, the only hiccup they had really recently was against the Jets of all games. They let Brees Hall run all over them. Like, go figure. But
Listen, the
um,
Bills lost to them with Aaron Rodgers out in the first game. So what
yeah,
does that tell you?
yeah, any given Sunday. But I've been quite like again, D'Amico Ryans has done a great job with Houston, but Kevin Stefanski for me has done an insane job with the Browns because the Browns have been dealt the same hand that the Jets were dealt, and kind of a little bit like Pittsburgh, right? Similar teams, great defenses,
Yeah,
questionable. The pieces are on offense, but you weren't sure how great they were going to be, and then just injuries derail everything. Oh, they're all missing quarterbacks, they're all missing players, and yes, Pittsburgh didn't make the playoffs. The Jets nosedived, but Cleveland looked dominant once they got Joe Flacco in there. It's like they
yeah.
plugged that old man in.
Competent quarterback's all they needed. They need someone that can
Yeah.
just run plays properly. Hopefully Watson comes back, gets a little more time on the with the scheme, and comes back and plays decent enough to repeat this kind of performance that Flacco's doing right now. But
Yeah.
the way Flacco's going, it's like, does he stick around after this year? Like, if let's say he wins his playoff game, does he stick around for another
Yeah.
year to just like give a extra option, or is he just going to go to the next team that needs a quarterback that's
Yeah.
looking
Could be
like a
like the
playoff
late
contender?
stage Fitzpatrick, just kind of a
Yeah,
hired gun
that
who's got a
just
starting job for me because hey, like with Watson there, and I know Watson hasn't looked great.
no.
Um,
He's had some moments. He's had some
yeah,
moments from Flash, but what was it?
but
2.5 years off, like football,
yeah.
basically.
So maybe it's a lot of rust. He's been banged up, and with that contract though, you can't not play
No, he's
Watson
not
if
getting
he's
cut.
healthy.
He's not getting cut. It's too much
Yeah.
dead cap.
So
You
yeah.
got to go with him.
Yeah.
Like
So Flacco's
or
auditioning. Like Flacco's right now doing the old Nicky Foles. Like that's what he's really doing.
yeah.
Like, can he ride to the promised land? In that first matchup, Jerome Ford, 15 rushes for only 25 yards, really struggled to get anything going. But Flacco was a machine that game, and Amari Cooper. So, um,
Amari
Yeah,
Cooper's
like
healthy again, which is good. He was banged up there for a couple of weeks, so that's a
yeah.
big bonus for them.
Yeah, he's back, and Ford has looked good the last few games. I know it wasn't against Houston, but Ford's looked like someone they could rely on. I think there's not much to overthink here. I tend to not want to lean towards the rookie coach, the rookie quarterback, especially against a good defense, even though
Well,
they are at home.
first year, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really what's it one or two, was it one quarterback's ever won their first playoff game with this kind of whatever what was it last year with Purdy winning his first year.
Well,
Um,
Mark Sanchez won a
oh,
game
did
his
he?
first year. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
okay.
did Flacco and Matt Ryan as well. They were all
It's
out
not
at the
many.
same
It's not
time.
many that's won
Yeah, it's
either
not
way.
many
Yeah,
because it was a big deal when they were out. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's hard for me to trust money and making a pick with rookies. If I was like a diehard Houston Texas fan, I'd probably be taking them. But as you can tell from the hat I'm wearing, not that I'm a Browns fan, but I think the Browns get this done. 2 points seems right for Cleveland. I think it'll be a close game, but I would trust Cleveland to get this done in the end.
Yeah, trying to think. That is in Cleveland. No,
Game's in Houston.
it's in
So
Houston.
Houston's a home dog, which is
Um,
tend to worry about sometimes.
yeah, no, you know what? I'm gonna stick with Houston here. I think Houston, the the kid, I don't know. He's got something about him. The Panthers
Stroud
missed.
has that little something.
Panthers
He
missed on
does.
him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got that little something. I think Nico has a big day. Maybe Damian Pierce picks it up for a playoff game. You see him pick it up and they get a 1-2 punch. All of a sudden, I think I like Houston, and it's still tight, but I still I would take Houston definitely with the spread.
The plus, see, yeah. If I was going Houston, I'd have to tease it to +3, but I'll take Cleveland all day -2. I'm just looking at the props to see if there's anything that interests me at all in this game. Anything that's sticking out, but I don't know. It's such a weird game because you got the old Joe Flacco, and it's like when's the Hollywood story going to end? And then with the rookie Stroud, like does he take that next step in his first year in the playoffs? Like, let me see what Flacco's passing stats are. Passing yards, Flacco's at 269 and Stroud's at 244.
I don't like either of them. I like
I don't
unders.
like him. Yeah, I don't
It's
like
the
either
defenses have
either.
been playing good enough. I don't know. You could have one just like I said. It can all of a sudden just blow up. Like the game, it could just get out of hand in the fourth. It could be tight, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, one big play for either side, and it could just blow up. I still think it's going to be a tight game.
Yeah.
It should be a tight game. That's the way these two teams match up here. But yeah, I got that Houston. Tease the 3 probably be the right call, but I still think they keep it tight and end up winning in the end, anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I got a number I like. I like Cleveland -2. Jerome Ford's rushing yards is only at 42.5. I think even though he didn't run for much the first time against him,
No,
I would
yeah,
think Cleveland likes to. It's the playoffs, right? You're going to want to establish the run and grind it out a bit. Even if Ford breaks a 20-yard or something like that, he hits that 42.5 probably pretty easy.
yeah. I think that's a good call.
I
Pick
like
that
that
one for the
one.
over.
Yeah, I like that. So that's what I would be probably looking at for that game. All right, game number 2, Miami Dolphins versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone knows what the weather is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the coldest game potentially in NFL history. I went to the second coldest game in Chicago Bears history, and I tell
Yeah.
you, beers froze before they hit your cup. And that's not even an exaggeration. It was the worst experience, cold. Felt like I had frostbite in my knees. It is miserable. And this game is going to be much colder than that. So KC right now is a 4.5-point favorite. And you would think the hot weather team would not be the one you'd want to back. But I'm going to say that I'm not only leaning, I'm hard leaning on the Dolphins in this game. And my biggest reason is because when it's cold and the weather sucks, what do you want to do? You want to run the ball. And Miami's rushing attack to me is just much better than KC's. I like Pacheco, but I think they held up Mostert last week. Mostert's going to be fresh. Devin's going to be available and fresh. I think the running game could be a difference. And like this game is so cold, it's going to be cold for KC. You know what I mean? Like no one's going to be enjoying.
No one's having a fun day.
No one.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Taylor Swift's going to show up to this game.
No, I wouldn't. Not. It's going to be miserable. It's going to be miserable this game. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I know it's blasphemy to go against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. I get it, but I've been fading Miami all year against better teams, but KC is that one team that has they're similar to what Philadelphia has been doing that we'll talk about later. They look out of they're losing to the rate, like they're just losing to bad teams and they just don't look good. Something's going on with Kelsey. Mahomes has literally no one to throw to. Like that team, like they're at a point where I don't even know if they have the talent. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is otherworldly, but they don't seem to have the talent that Andy Reid can scheme open. And when he does, they drop the ball. Like it just seems like it's not their year. And I think they could be primed to get picked off. That's my case for it. That's my case.
I think Pacheco has a big game here. It is going to be a big running game for him. He is a bigger back compared to the other two. He runs harder. He's an angry runner. Whereas
I agree. The physical running will work better in cold than the finesse. But
he's always kind of shown he's fragile, and in a cold game, injuries happen easier.
Yeah.
And him and Mostert, I think they're going to get injured. I think they're going to get hurt this game, or they're going to be hurting and not being as effective as they are. So when you take that run game, if you take the run game out at all, it seems like Miami falls apart, and it's happened all year against good teams where they just eliminate the run game.
When they become one-dimensional, and KC does have good corners, but if they could establish anything on the run, then it'll be interesting chess match, right? Because I'm assuming Waddle will be full strength for this game because again he sat out last week. I'm assuming that was strategic to get them healthy. So you have Waddle and Hill.
Waddle might still not be fully and coming into the cold. Once again, you're coming off an injury and you're coming into the cold. It's super easy to re-aggravate that injury. So
even if he's a decoy out there, it'll keep the defense honest for that run game.
And Hill's played here. He knows what the field's like.
Yeah, and Hill knows what he's doing fine in that field.
Yeah, he'll play fine there. I'm not worried about him. I'm just worried that Miami's run game is going to get banged up quickly here and be shut down. And you're going to get the Pacheco Kelsey show. Kelsey will show up. Kelsey, I think he's hurting. I think he's been hurting all year.
Yeah,
he's tried to
started the year hurt, right?
Yeah. So he's going to show up. His hands are going to show up in this game. He knows how to pick it up to another level. He's won Super Bowls. He's won big games. He knows how to just go to that another level, even if he's on the back end of his career here. So I see a big game from him.
Do you like him to cover the 4.5 though? Is the big question. Because I can see KC winning, but I could easily see a Miami upset. But I like Miami. The +4, the points, the +4.5 is very appealing to me for Miami.
No, I still like if KC wins, it's by a touchdown here. I think it's just going to be a touchdown back and forth affair if it's going to be anything. As soon as that
in that weather,
yeah, it's going to be touchdowns. It's not like the Buffalo weather apparently, where it's just not going to be moving. It's just cold.
Yeah,
it's cold weather. The field's still open. It's going to be a running game, but it's going to still be touchdown game.
Look at these last games that Casey's played. They beat the Chargers 13-12. 13-12. Mm-hmm. Chargers stink. They beat the Bengals, full of backups, 25-17. Like, by no means a juggernaut. They lost to the Raiders and Aiden O'Connell, 20-14. They beat the Patriots by 10. Patriots stink. They lost to the Bills. They lost to the Packers. Like, They
I know
haven't looked.
the back half of the season has not been great for
Yeah,
them.
they have not looked good. Not
But
looked good.
you know what? They're still the champ, and
Yeah,
they know how to play in the playoffs. And
yeah,
I can't say the same for Miami, minus Tyreek and I
yeah.
think maybe a few positional players out
And
there.
I'm a bit of a hypocrite too, right? Because the Dolphins have struggled down the stretch too. But they lost to the Ravens and the Bills, and you know,
They're good
they
teams. Like
they were
you should lose to
shorthanded
those
against the
teams.
Bills, yeah, and the Ravens pummeled them, and the Ravens were riding high and great, and everyone lays an egg from time to time. But they beat the Cowboys, which is a good win. They blew out the Jets 30-0. So like Miami's again, I don't know. They both these teams have just been so inconsistent to the
Yeah,
point
yeah,
where
and
if I'm
it's
getting
been that kind
points,
of
give me
year.
the
Yes,
points. Yeah, give me the points. I'll take the
I
points.
think either of these two teams, it doesn't matter who goes through. They're one of these teams are out next round, like that. They just it's a loser bracket going on. But
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still thinking
Yeah,
KC. I'm still thinking buy a touchdown in the end. End of the day, they do what it takes to be. Even if it's tied going in the end, they'll run it. Mahomes will run a 2-minute drill. He'll run the ball down the field. Miami will sit back and they'll run a touchdown down them. So that's the way I'm kind of seeing that game going.
so Travis Kelsey's receiving yard prop is 59.5.
Hmm.
He's
He
he's been
should be.
struggling to hit that. If this was last year, I'd say slap
Oh,
that
hit it
as
all day. Hit
fast as
it
you
all
can.
day. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I don't.
he's going to be leaned on. He's going to be leaned on.
Yeah. That's probably gonna be a
59.5.
popular bet for a lot of people. Tyreek Hill's at 83.5. So that's lower. Tyreek Hill's normally been in the mid to high 90s. So his number's definitely down. Um, who I like. I hit this the last Miami game against the Bills. I kind of Miami's tight end, Smythe, 17.5 yards.
Ooh, yeah. You know
He's
what?
hit,
One play is one play away from that every time. 20-yarder easy down the field.
yeah.
Open. Yeah.
I'll tell you right now how many times he's hit it because I looked at this last week when I bet it. He last week was 30 yards, week before 54, week before 56, week before 32. So that's he's hit it 4 straight weeks comfortably. And he's
Yeah,
gotten
and he's going to be the
three
guy not
plus
covered by
targets
the
each
corners.
game.
He'll
Exactly.
be.
It's
Yeah.
going to be going. Everyone's going to be dropping back on Hill and Waddle because they don't want to get burned deep. And Smythe could have a big game underneath when they do throw it. So I actually really, now that I'm thinking about it, looking at it, I really like that number.
Yeah, I would
I'd take
probably
him.
go with that one myself. That would be an over on that one.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the next game here. Okay. Why don't you take this one away? Pittsburgh Steelers, Buffalo Bills, Sunday, 1:00. Your Bills, 9.5-point favorites.
9.5. Ooh. Okay, so this is one of those games that we know we've heard this weather coming. It's going to be atrocious. I mean, I'm looking at my window right now, and we're just north of Buffalo by a few hundred kilometers, and it's nasty. I can only imagine down there. It's going to be nasty, and then you're getting these snow squalls coming in. If one of those snow squalls locks in on Orchard Park, it's going to be you're going to see feet and feet of snow in the stands. It's going to be a snowball game. Probably one of the craziest playoff games you've ever seen. In saying that, if everything hits weather-wise, I don't see a score coming out of the 20s for combined here. I think it's 32 is what Vegas has dropped it down to for over-under.
I'll tell you right now. Right now, it's Bet365 has that at 33.5.
Yeah, so
the lowest total of all the playoff games by far.
Oh yeah, by far. And this is strictly weather-based.
By 10 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think an NFL game an over-under is that. And I still think it's going to be in the 20s. I would lock in, if I'm going to bet on anything this week, it's locked in that it's not going that
Taking
high.
the under?
I'm taking it under there. As for the game itself, a little bit of worry here because you got Najee and Warren, and this is going to be run.
Yeah.
Run.
I don't see who's starting for Pittsburgh. Is it Rudolph? Mason
Rudolph? Yeah, Mason Rudolph is getting the start this week. That's going to be their weak link here. In the snow, if he's got to move around, he's already not super mobile. And if that defensive line comes in, which have just been firing for the Bills this last half of the season, they'll destroy him. So it's got to be a run. It's got to be pass off and run and run and run and pound and pound and pound. And they have two great runners right now. Najee has looked great since Matt Canada got the can.
Yep.
Revitalized, and it's like he's 1,000 yards and how many touchdowns? 7 touchdowns. First Pittsburgh running back to hit 3 years in a row of those kind of stats.
Yeah.
He's not as bad as people keep. But in the fantasy world,
it's been impressive with how much touches Warren gets too. It's impressive. Najee's been able to.
He's still doing it. He's being a workhorse without needing to be a workhorse. It's a great thing for him, and he's turned in 25, I believe. So he's going to have to be like that, or he's going to wear out quick because he's had a lot of touches in his career already. But it's going to be the Bills' key to success is stuffing the center, because there's no outside running going on here. If it's a big, huge snowstorm, they're up the gut, because nothing's going outside. The Bills,
the Bills are stacking the box. They're not going to fear. Yeah. They're not going to fear the pass. I don't think.
No,
unless Pickens or Deontay Johnson burns them deep somehow. I can't see them really fearing it at all. Their pass rush should be able to get home by the time those guys could get down a snowy field.
Yeah, I think so too, especially if it's really, really packed up in there. As far as the Bills side, here's actually interesting one. Allen's going to have a good game of running. But Leonard Fournette, I think, gets the nod here and Lenny's going to get some touches here. You want to fall forward for 3-4 yards, you're going to give it to Lenny. Cook has been amazing, way better than what other people were saying. I said, hey, this guy's like got some juice under him, and all of a sudden he's got to show it. And with Joe Brady in there calling the plays now, has actually opened him up way more, the way I thought he should have been in his first year. But I think Lenny, because of that just physical pound, he's shown in the playoffs, he picks it up that other notch. He's going to be a big factor in this game for the Bills to try to break that line down. And I know no Gabe Davis. He got Diggs out there. He'll be trying to call from the snowbanks out on the sides, but they have a more capable pass catchers with the Bills that they can get short passes to. They got two very capable tight ends that are big power guys that can run through that snow, get you your 5-6 yard passes, maybe pick up a couple more on the tackle kind of thing. And it's going to be short, low scoring game. Bills 10.5.
9.5. I think
9.5.
Yeah.
No. I'm not thinking. I would take the under on that. I'd take Pittsburgh if I'm going to go that way. Bills win if you're going to do a straight up bet here, but I am not believing that the score is going to get that lopsided.
Really, eh?
No, it's one of those games I just don't feel like it's going to happen. It's going to be so tight. It's going to be so stupid.
Is the storm going to be ongoing, or is it dumping and then they just got to play in a bunch of snow, but it won't be like hurricane winds or anything crazy?
Well, no, actually the wind is it's the cold, frigid wind that's coming in that's the big factor here and starting up snow squalls. And it that's why I said it depends on the direction of the wind at game time or before game time. We've seen plenty of times off the lake going right across Orchard Park where you just have a solid snow squall and it dumps 2 feet overnight. And if it's doing that during game time, it's going to be a hard go, and it's going to be windy. It's going to be windy either way there. And that stadium, I know Pittsburgh's used to having really crazy winds with their stadium on the river. We've been there for games and seen how crazy it is with the wind. So Buffalo is also one of those stadiums that you see the wind and the flags going all different directions all the way around. So it's going to be a bad kicking day. It's just going to be, you're going to get a couple of short, and maybe get down the field. And
like I want to take the Bills 9.5, but I see your point in that if you do believe it's going to be low scoring, like all it takes is one Bill defender to slip and, Najee Harris scampers for a touchdown to blow your spread up.
Yeah, Najee's powerful enough. If it's got a bit of stuff on the ground, he'll high step, he'll pound his way down the field, and he'll be gone.
But
Warren probably, he probably could too, but Warren's more that outside, like get outside guy.
Yeah.
He won't be as effective as Najee that way, but I still see him getting the reps in there.
This is the kind of game though where I could see Pittsburgh like literally scoring one field goal though. Like I could see for what Buffalo can be a hard place to play, and in the playoffs, all those crazy fans are showing up.
Pittsburgh travels well too. It's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of Pittsburgh fans there, even though Buffalo fans are the same way. They are one of the best traveling teams. Like we saw them at the West Coast there, filled the whole stadium. Like it was all Bills fans. So they travel well. So, but they also stay at home well. But same as Pittsburgh, they'll be trying to get in there. It'll be a good even fan distribution, I think, for this game.
Yeah, so I agree. Bills win. The 9.5. I would lean Bills. I don't know if I'd put money on it.
I can't get around it. It's just too high for a game like this for me.
Yeah, how I'm envisioning, I could see the Bills winning like 17-3. Like that's the type of game.
Yeah.
Or 21-6, something like that in that range. So like in theory they cover and the under hits, but like I said, it takes like a special teams, like a muff. Like there's just if the weather's that bad and there's that much snow, like there could be plays.
If the weather is the way it's supposed to be, there will be muffs. Yeah. There will be drops. Allen will turn over the ball. But so will Rudolph. Rudolph will fumble, will get hit. He will fumble the ball as well. And it will be just one of those games where it's just this turnovers at center field and everyone just sitting there.
So I'm looking at the props. This one is real interesting. Don't know if this is a trap or it's an overreaction to the weather, but Josh Allen's passing yards is 209.5. I have never seen his passing yards that low. Like, yes, Josh Allen, big, strong, obviously can get the ball where he wants to in that weather. Yes, it'll be difficult, but if anyone could chuck it, it's him.
No, it's getting the guy there to catch it though.
Yeah, and secondly, who loves taking risks? That guy does. So I could easily see Josh Allen being like just YOLO and just heaving balls right into the wind and just praying someone comes down with it. And if he hits one or two of those, he easily covers that 210 yards.
Well, it's one of those things. You see the Bills and McDermott do this kind of stuff. His first play of the game, the bomb went downfield. That is a MO. If you've watched for years, that McDermott likes that first play. Let's just throw one down the field, see what happens. Yeah. And it would be a surprise because if you're thinking like me, you're thinking this game's going to be a running slog. Yeah,
Pittsburgh's selling out for the run too. They're going to be trying to stop Josh Allen from running.
Half those yards could be picked up in the first play of the game. So.
Yeah. You know why? Like, if you're betting it now, right? Because this game's on Sunday, so you got a couple day advantage here. We really don't know 100% what that weather's going to look like. Like,
no, we're pretty sure, but it could.
But it could be game day, and it might not be as severe. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, that 209.5 looks like an absolute steal.
Yeah, it's still cold. Like, let's get this straight. It's not as cold as what KC's going to have.
Yeah,
but it's not warm by any stretch. It is going to be a cold game. It is going to be a windy game. I think that's your two guarantees here. It's whether the snow squalls hit in a way that make it an absolute nightmare. And it's kind of lining up that way, but we're still a couple days away. So we got to see.
Yeah. I kind of want to hit that Allen number now. I kind of like that. Just for, everyone's saying it's going to be a running game. I'll throw you the running totals right now. Najee Harris, 59.5. Jaylen Warren, 34.5. Josh Allen, 39.5. And then James Cook, 65.5.
Is there no Fournette one up?
Fournette doesn't have one
in the game yet.
Yeah, it's not been posted on Bet365 yet. Right. There's a Mason Rudolph line for 4.5, but
see, that's and then close to my point. He's not a mobile quarterback.
I'm not in love with any of those because Cook burned me last week versus the Dolphins. I teased his line down to 50. He didn't even hit that, even though almost every other week he has.
Yeah.
Like Josh Allen, I could easily see get that, but if your name's not Lamar Jackson or like Fields, I struggle taking that high of a number.
He's
But
one
in this,
he's one stiff arm away from getting that though.
yeah, and this
He's
type
not
of
trying to
game,
hurdle.
yeah, he's probably going to tuck this and run quite a few times, you'd think. So
Yeah, I believe
39
that.
and a half might
I
be the
thought him.
line.
I don't mind that, and let's go under on Mason Rudolph for running. He's going to be he's going to be running for his life in the backfield if the D breaks through quickly.
Yeah.
And those are negative
Plus,
yards. So
yeah.
I think
And you want his two backs touching the ball. Like Mason Rudolph is not a weapon
you do not want him running the ball.
He's not picking up 4.5 yard and quarterback sneaks.
No, I would actually pick the under on the Mason Rudolph one.
Just looking at the receiving yards to see if there's anything I think is interesting. Kincaid's at 32.5, kind of like what we said with the Miami KC game.
Yeah, I like I said, but having the power in this weather, power running in this weather, and Kincaid has sure hands. I watched him miss one, and you could see it was the only one all game, and you see he was terrified that he dropped one.
Yeah.
So you know what? I like it. I like that one. I like the over on that.
Diggs is at 60.5. I'm not in love with that.
I'm not leaning that. I would lean under on that. I would lean under on any other receivers that way that are over that 50 mark.
I definitely like Kincaid. The running backs, Cook's at 17.5 for receiving yards.
I mean,
I don't know
if they're going to have him line up, he'll be lining up not in the backfield. He'll be lining up on the line. Yeah. So there's enough plays in the game that he could make that up with a few catches. So that's a hard one. I would probably stay away from that myself.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. The 4:30 game. This is actually. This and the next game are probably my two favorite games of the whole weekend. So we got the Packers at the Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas is a 7-point favorite. So Dallas at home has been dominant, absolutely dominant. They're terrible on the road. Green Bay, I don't know if I feel like people know, but lots of people don't want to talk about it. But Green Bay and Jordan Love have been absolutely tearing it up the last few weeks.
They found their next quarterback. Like if this doesn't prove it, they just know how to get quarterbacks. It's crazy.
Yeah. In fantasy, I went up against the guy in the title game who had Jordan Love on his team, and he was the person I was most worried about, to the point where I went out and made a trade to bring in Aaron Jones just to vulture some Jordan Love points from him as a safety net. So I've seen what Jordan Love's been doing. Saying that, I like the Cowboys to get this game. I don't like the 7 points though. I think Green Bay +7 would be the play. How do you?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm not in love with it either way. I think I would do a teaser Cowboys money line with something, but I think Jordan Love scores. I watch the Jets, right? They can't score touchdowns. Green Bay and Jordan Love seem to get in the end zone all the time. And that would worry me taking the Cowboys by 7. The Cowboys are a juggernaut too. Don't get me wrong. The Cowboys absolutely have dismantled teams.
But they haven't dismantled good teams. That's the problem. They've gone up against good temes. They've Miami. You can say, they went against Miami. Well, Miami's been shit the last end of the season. So are they as good a team as some of these other teams? Dallas is one that scares me because the way they've played. We went
they lost, and they lost against the Dolphins. So far, they actually lost by 2.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
But they beat the Lions by 1, and Dallas should have lost that game.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell got, for one, the call, the drama on the whole, who eligible or not. But then Dan Campbell let his ego get in the way and wouldn't just kick the damn extra point.
Well, he said that was making that call, and that's what we're going with, no matter what.
So Dallas lately, 2 losses on the road to Bills and the Dolphins, a potential loss at home versus the Lions, and then absolutely throttled the Commanders on the road.
That was, look at the Commanders going down. The Riverboat Ron gave up. Like he knew
Yeah,
it was over. That wasn't even a game.
And like Green Bay has won their division games. They had like a tight game against the Panthers, who were terrible. They lost to Tampa. So like their previous,
But
iterations is that
Tampa's
great
one of
either.
those
But
teams this year that's been look at they're in the playoffs. Tampa's
yeah,
been a team that's been surprising this year. They're doing enough to, they got enough stuff there. So I don't really. That's not that bad of a loss to say Tampa. I mean Tampa last year I would have said ooh, like been a little more
yeah,
skeptical, but yeah. Um, I don't think Tampa's a bad loss this year for anybody. They can just beat
that's
they could
true.
beat any team on any week.
Yeah, they're just a little inconsistent, but they
They're
could
just
they
thinking, and
could
that's
look good.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so who do you like, regardless of the spread? Who do you like in this game? Like, I think the Cowboys will win. I'm just scared of that 7 points.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It seems like
God.
this is like, to be honest, it seems like this
It feels like
could
the
be
trap game.
finally the Cowboys' year, maybe.
I feel like this is the trap game of the week almost. Like I have this feeling that Green Bay just like pulls off the win from nowhere.
That's
You
why
know
the
what?
7 point scares me. I don't like
This is a gut
Dallas at
thing,
all
and
with the
this is
spread.
I've had some really bad beats this year, but I'm going Green Bay here.
Take it like straight up, or just the plus
Straight
7.
up, straight up. Well, I'll take the points too, but I'll take Green Bay
Yeah.
straight up win in this game. I think Green Bay just somehow that young core and Love just looks good. He's got nice warm stadium to play in, and I think he goes down there and actually has a good game.
So, prop wise, my favorite bet of this game is Jordan Love over 1.5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, I like that one. I
Yeah.
like an over on that
He's
one.
thrown for 2 or more in 4 straight games. And if you break it out, he's actually done it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In is that 9 or 10? In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, in 9 of those last 10 games, he's thrown for multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
I like Jordan Love to do that. Yeah, that's probably my favorite play. I'm looking at the stuff like CD Lamb's been one of the is CD Lamb
CeeDee
needs,
Lamb is
he needs to
ridiculous
be
this year.
he
He's
needs to
having
be
a
in the
year.
conversation for being the best wide receiver in the. It seems to change every year, right? It was Jefferson, then it was Chase and
Yeah,
Jefferson, then it was AJ Brown, and now
it's still
It's
Jefferson.
it yeah, but it
It's still
looks like
Jefferson.
CD Lamb. I think he's gotten closer to that tier, if not like in the tier just below him.
He's the one below it. He's
Yeah,
definitely the one below it. I think Jefferson, without injury, if you look at his stats, I think he would have
yeah,
been really close to hitting that 2,000 yard mark himself. Let alone what Hill was trying to do, and Hill was phenomenal this year to
yeah.
get to where he did without his injury. With his injury, he probably would have been close too. But um, yeah, I think Jefferson's still the class. He's the
Yeah.
class of it. He's in his own tier. I mean, you want Chase to be up there, but Chase I think had a little bit of a down year. He'll come back next year. He'll be right back up there again. But Jefferson is the top of the pyramid right now.
Yeah. So CD Lamb's numbers at 98.5. I hate high numbers like that. Like
No, I like it. I'm they're going to
you
be
like
on him.
CD getting that? Yeah.
Yeah, I like CD getting that. I like the over on that. I think he has about
Yeah.
120 to 140 this game. He's going to get a touchdown.
I like him to score, for sure.
Yeah, anytime score for him.
Yeah.
And what I also like, what's Ferguson's lines there?
For what, receiving yards?
Yeah, receiving and catches.
Where is he? 44.5 for yards. And where's receptions? Player receptions. Ferguson is at 4.5, so 5
Oh
catches.
God, hit the over on that. He's going to have a boatload of balls thrown at him. He's had that all year. This is like that one of those games where he's just going to be targeted to crap in those short yardage situations. The yards over. I'm staying away from that. I don't like it either side for him, but that reception total, he's going to be up there in like the 7-8 range in this game. So that's an easy over for me.
You know who I like. It seems to be a theme of every game we've talked about. I like Wicks. He's
He's a guy I drafted the crap out of in the spring because I'm like, he's a
love's
good
been going
receiver.
to him.
Yeah.
He's last game was 6. He had 6 catches on 7 targets. The game before that, he didn't do all that much, but the game before that, he had another 6 catches for 97 yards on 7 targets. So Jordan Love seems, and he's scoring touchdowns. So Jordan Love's the last couple of games has been going to him quite a bit. His yardage prop is 30.5. Like
I would take the over there. I think it's just you have to. You got to take it over there without.
Yeah, and his reception prop is only 2.5. So I think he's trending in the right direction. I would definitely be looking at taking Wicks. But I think for me the play is the Love touchdowns. He poor Aaron Jones don't get no rushing touchdowns. The second Jordan Love's always throwing it in the end zone. Just always.
No, Jones is between injuries and he's getting old. He's getting up there. Yeah. He's still got a little bit of kick, but
he's looked good. He's looked good the last few games. Let's look at his numbers. His rushing totals at 73.5. I don't love it because the game script might skew towards Green Bay having to throw it more if they fall behind.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is going to be a lot tighter. I think they win, but I still think it's a throwing game. I think this is going to be a throwing game.
Yeah,
and
like you said, it's a track game. They're going to go up and down.
I mean, he might get lots of receptions. He might get lots of yards reception. I just don't think his running total is going to be the highest in this game.
Yeah. Okay. Next game, the evening game, which could be. It's a pretty meaningful game for the 2 players involved. We got the Rams visiting the Lions. Matthew Stafford's return to Detroit. And then we also have Jared Goff, who mentioned today or the other day that he's still kind of bitter about getting traded. It is the Detroit Lions are a 3-point favorite at home. That's pretty much a pick 'em, in Vegas's eyes when the home team's only a 3-point.
Yeah, two and a half. Yeah, that's in that zone of pick 'em.
I've been on the Lions all year. I have watched more Lions games this year than ever in my life. I've also watched more Rams games this year in my life. It might be because I had both stacks in my fantasy league, so I followed them a lot. But the Lions, just for one, their record speaks for itself. But watching them, they do some frustrating things sometimes. That defense, the pass rush is great, but they are susceptible to giving up some big plays and scores and sustained drives. The Rams, their defense has been pretty underrated. Again, they've been abused some games, but I don't know. I am leaning the Rams in this game. I think McVay has done a great job coaching this year and getting Kyren Williams on this team. No, I feel like people still don't believe in him, but Kyren Williams.
How can you not believe in him at this point? The guy
people still say, "Oh, he's slow. He's garbage." I just keep hearing it all the time. I know. He has changed this Rams offense. Yards. He has given the Rams everything they need. Stafford looks rejuvenated. Puka Nacua has been insane. Obviously, did he end up setting the rookie record?
Yeah, he did.
He said it, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Cooper Kupp, who should be well rested and good to go. The Rams have all the weapons, and it's just, can Stafford, does he have the time, and Stafford throws the brutal pick from here and there. That's the one bugaboo about, the Rams. But who's got the extra motivation here, Stafford or Goff? I feel like technically you'd think Goff would, because Stafford's the one who wanted out, right?
No, Stafford went out. He won his title. He does. It's the motivation for revenge. Yeah. There's no revenge here for him. Goff is the one looking for revenge.
Yeah, Goff wants the revenge.
Yeah, it's a big hit. It's either him or he busts. It's going to be a big telling thing for how they go into the next season with their quarterback situation. If he just busts hard and has one of the worst games ever, you could very well see Hendon Hooker get some spring training.
Well, I don't know if I go that far.
Well, I
I
like
don't know
Hendon
if I
Hooker.
go.
I like him.
Yeah,
I like him. I know
yeah,
this season, he didn't get to get out there, and they're kind of holding him back. But
yeah,
I think he's one of those guys that if Goff absolutely just falls apart this game, you're
yeah.
going to see them maybe starting to think about a quarterback change next year. And Goff could end up playing all next year too, after. But you're going to have that like maybe short leash at that point if this game just blows up for him. And on the other hand, if he comes out and fires and just hitting everything, he's almost locked his place for another season in Detroit.
Yeah, I can see Goff having a big game, and I can see, well, it's also a big game for Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
head coaching jobs out there that want him, and this is a prime audition for him to get this offense, trucking and putting up points.
Yeah.
It pains me. Like, I grew up on the Michigan border. Like, I feel like I have some allegiance to anything Michigan based in Detroit. And like I said, I've watched a lot of their games this year. I don't know. Something about, for one, the Rams experience, right? They've been there before. They had their down year last year, right? I just
even I think to start this year, it wasn't the greatest start to the year, and they just somehow picked it up at the end, and they're kind of hitting right now.
Exactly.
And,
I think they're hitting their stride at the right time.
I haven't seen Detroit just taking that step right now. They're kind of on cruise control. I'm going to agree with you here. I think the Rams come in and get this win here.
Yeah, at least like the +3. Like, I'm taking that. I think I'm taking that +3.
I think you easily take the plus,
Yeah.
but I think it's also you could probably you could take the money line on this one here for the Rams.
Yeah. Both these teams feel very similar to me. Like, they have very genius offensive coordinators / play callers. They both have a great running game, right? And they have comparable quarterbacks between the two of them. Two guys who could potentially light it up and dominate, and two guys who could potentially make some dumb mistakes.
Yeah, I think Stafford makes the mistakes because he's on another level. He's up a tier in my mind.
Yeah.
He can make that little harder play that he has to make to get.
Yeah, and he's and the biggest thing is he's been there before. Like, he finally got the Super Bowl. Like, he's done it. I like the experience on the Rams side, and like, it's in a dome. Like, Detroit plays in a dome. There's gonna be no weather factor at all here. This is another game that could very well be a track meet.
It will be a very Detroit crowd there. You're not going to see any Rams fans. Like, not
Eminem's going to be up in the box, I bet.
Yeah, it'll be a very ruckus Detroit. In that stadium, it actually gets pretty loud. We've been there. It can be a very loud stadium, so they should have a little bit of fan help. But I think the Rams just come out on top in this one.
Yeah, and like, I know I spoke a lot of praise for Puka and Cup, but like, Amon St. Brown, like, he's great. He's great.
I feel bad. I sold him for a second in his first year, thinking, he can't continue this. I'll make my pick back and make a little on it. And no, he's been good.
The other wild card here as well is, do we have a status for Sam Laporta? Because right now he doesn't have a lineup. There's no receiving yard proper anymore.
Yeah, I don't. I think he might not be playing this game, but I think that's still game time for him. They'll keep it close.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything. I don't think I've seen him ruled out, but like,
no, they won't want to rule him out yet because it's a playoff game. They want to make the other team at least think he has a chance to be out there.
Yeah. So like, missing Laporta hurts big time because he just took so much pressure off St. Brown, right? He was that awesome safety.
What a season for him. He get hurt in the last game the way he did.
And big red zone threat for him, right? Like, he was piling up the touchdowns. And the thing that I didn't like that Detroit couldn't, again, maybe the player isn't as good as they thought they were, but all year they talked about getting Jamison Williams more involved, more snaps. But like, I've seen his snap count increase and stuff on the offense, but his touches still haven't gone anywhere.
Because he's a bust.
So it's like,
I've given up on that one now. I was hard thinking, no, this guy's going to be something. It's going to be an upper, but even not the top tier, but he's going to be an upper tier guy, and he's just not there. I don't think it's going to be there for him.
So like Josh Reynolds
looks great this year.
He's looked good, but he's going to have a solid game because
I think he will. He's picked it up. But then you got to remember they got two backs that are just playing phenomenal. That run game that they have in Detroit.
Yeah, their two backs are great.
Oh yeah, and they can both catch. They can both pull it outside. No weather to worry about. So you're going to see the outside run and stuff, and it's going to be. I still like they'll have their good games. I think the big playmakers will all have good games here. But yeah, Rams. I'm just going. I got to go with the Rams on this one still.
Yeah, unfortunately it's the way I'm leaning. I'm not proud of taking it. I remember the Rams won the Super
Detroit.
Bowl.
I know. Yeah. The Detroit just wants something, just a little something, and they just like.
I went against the Rams hard their Super Bowl run. Like I hated the Rams, but this year I don't know if it's because Kyren Williams won me over, but I just like what they're doing. And speaking of prop wise, so Kyren Williams rushing yards 81.5. I don't know.
No,
you know what?
The
Rams have been pretty good at sticking with the run no matter what because they use him to open up the pass. Yeah,
I'm hitting 100 yards on him this game. So that's an easy over for me.
Yeah, Gibbs is 52 and Montgomery's 54. Kyron's been a touchdown machine. I would take Kyron for touchdown as well.
Yeah,
you know what? I would do a parlay of Montgomery and Williams for touchdown scores because Montgomery vultures all of Gibbs' touchdowns.
Yep, yeah, that's a fair point. Their yards though, it's going to be tight. I think that's going to be tight. Yeah, they're going to be tight between the two of them. They're going to split pretty evenly, I think, for this playoff game. If Monty doesn't get more, just being the more veteran player here.
Yeah.
Let me think here.
I don't love either one.
I like a Gibbs touchdown. I like a Gibbs receiving touchdown though here.
Yeah. Receiving yard wise, we got St. Brown's at 88.5. I'm not in love with that. I could see St. Brown getting like 10 grabs, 84 yards.
Easily. Yeah.
I can also see him getting 10 grabs and 140 yards, but
200 yards. Yeah.
Don't know if I love that. If I'm leaning towards, again, it's every week. It's do you go Cup or do you go Puka? The Cup's at 68.5, Puka's at 75.5.
I believe it's Cup looked good last week too, though, did he not?
Yeah, and neither tends to have like it's always one or the other. One has like the big game with the big yardage, and the other one has maybe a bunch of catches, but like 50 yards.
Yeah, I've been watching like their stats point wise in PPR have been sometimes the same, but one's getting all the yardage and one's getting the touchdown. So that's your difference between the two. They're effective. They're effective in the offense, no matter how stats aside. So what guy do you cover? If you're going to cover the one guy all game, then the other guy's going to be blowing you up. So that's where I think that's their big game changer there is between the two of them.
Higbee's at 28.5. That's an interesting number. Let me just pull up what he's been doing. Because Stafford,
I don't think I like him in this game.
Let me see what his last bid has been, because I feel like I've seen him get a lot. So when I say 28.5, the last 5 games he's gone over that number. 5 games straight he's gone over.
Yeah. Cup was also, other than last week, he's been down in yards since he's come back. I believe, has he not?
Cup had the one big game with the blown coverage where he caught like the 60-yard touchdown. Other than that, he's been like 5-10 yards each catch. So like it's been Puka's the one with the explosive plays. But Cup's yardage is 7 yards less than Puka's number at 68.5. And Cup's the veteran in the playoffs. I kind of would roll with Cup here. You know what? I would tease it down to 50, and I'd add someone else. That, you know what? I'd probably you know what I would do? I'd tease St. Brown and Cup both to 50, and that'd be my parlay.
That's probably safe.
That's a safe bet.
That's a safe bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just pray for an offensive shootout. That's probably the best way to go, because the Stars are going to be getting the ball.
That's what I'm saying. Every star in this game is going to have some kind of numbers. There's going to be touchdowns scored all over the board. It's going to be spread out throughout both teams, and that's kind of what you see with these teams. Is it's really spread out. There's no 4 touchdown Lenny going on here in this game. It'll be 1-1-1-1-1 to everybody kind of thing. Yeah. But there is going to be touchdowns. It's going to be a game. It's going to be a good game, I think.
So the over-under is 52.
Oh, over-under is 52. That's saying it. They think it's going to be a game too.
It's the highest over-under of the weekend. The Green Bay Dallas was 50.5. This one's 52.
I am staying away from that. Vegas is trying to trap people on that one, and I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch that over-under this week.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We got a Monday night game, and probably, with the exception of Cleveland-Houston, probably the worst game of the week. It sucks that they're giving that to us as like the dessert, so to speak. But we have the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa, and the Bucs are a 3-point home dog. And
that's big. That's big to be a 3-point home dog too.
I'll just go out and say it. I got no faith in the Eagles right now. Not only have they been in a nosedive, but did you see that AJ Brown didn't practice today and wiped the Eagles from all his social media? Like, what the fuck's going on with that guy? I loved him as a receiver, and I do love him as a receiver, but he has turned into like the biggest diva in the
NFL. He's what everyone thinks Diggs is.
Isn't Hurts his brother-in-law or best friend or something like that, or best man? Like,
it's something. Yeah, there's something like there, yeah.
Oh, the drama that's going on internal to the Eagles, and I even heard on the Sirius radio today, people were like, if they lose to Tampa, would like Laurie, the owner, potentially fire Sirianni already and like go after like a Vrabel or a Belichick.
Belichick is there's that dark horse. I've seen a lot of talk of that. Is now that he's out there.
Yeah.
Maybe you need someone with that like straight forward,
an aggressive owner who wants to make some changes, and Philly will spend.
And he has made changes.
Yeah.
He is not afraid to.
Yeah.
So man, this is. I don't even want to touch this game with anything. I don't want to bet on this game in the least bit.
My gut, just looking at my gut, is taking Tampa and the points. Tampa plus 3.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call Tampa as the winner here. I can't take anything else than just a straight pick 'em. Tampa wins this game. I can't tell you by how many points. I can't. Yeah. It's just I don't like this game. I don't like how it's set up with the way the Eagles are coming in. They should be better. Hey, they could just blow up and just all of a sudden this Eagles team shows back up again. Yeah. But did you? I don't know if you saw the Kelsey brothers on their show there. Jason he kind of rage quit. Got a little pissy from some of his brother's questions and about the team, and he had to come back the next day and finish his interview. So and you know what? I think that's indicative of that locker room right now. They're frustrated. Something's not right.
Yeah,
not right there.
It's not good. They have all the talent in the world, and like if Philly won by 25 points, I wouldn't be surprised. But if Philly loses outright, I also won't be surprised.
That's where, you know what? The way they're going, I'm just gonna go with the home team here. Like,
If I had to take a side, I'm taking Tampa plus 3. Will I bet it? I don't know. Let's dive into some props here. Passing yards. Jalen Hurts 221. Don't love it. and
Nope.
Baker 237.
Nope.
No.
Can't go either way on that. Don't like it.
Yeah. I'd tease them down to 200 if I was putting them in a prop, but
they're both one big play from going over or being under that.
Yeah, receiving yards. This tells you how much about what's going on in the receiving world. There is not one Philly receiver listed right now for receiving yards on Bet365. It's only Tampa Bay Bucks.
That's bad. That's not great.
There's just uncertainty going on with them.
Hurts hasn't even thrown.
Yeah. It's funny that there's a Hurts line though, but they don't have any receivers for a line, which is surprising. So I can't give you any Philly numbers, but I'll throw out a couple Tampa numbers that could be interesting. Mike Evans, 69.5.
Nope, can't touch it.
Godwin's at 55.
I like it. I like it, but I can't touch it.
Yeah,
I would probably pick it over if I'm going to do anything, but I still.
I'm not in love with it, but you could easily see Mike Evans catching a 40-yard bomb, and then he's on his way. But rushing yards, Swift is 60.5. White is 64.5.
Nope.
What Chase Edmonds is he? He's at 11.5. Baker's at 10.5
yards running. That's one scramble, but you could get a couple sacks. That's a hard one. That's also I don't like it. Big no for me on betting on this game.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of things I like. This game to me would be a heavy teaser. Heavy teaser. If I end up going Tampa Bay, it'd be like I'd do like Baker 200 yards and like Mike Evans 50 yards receiving and call it a day. And then throw in like Tampa and like tease like Tampa +7. That could be a nice little teaser.
Even that, you're going to have Baker Mayfield 198 yards on you. Like it's just going to be one of those. You're going to miss a leg on that. You'll hit 2 and you'll miss 1 even teasing it. Like it just I don't feel.
Gotta bet something.
No, you don't. You can stay away. You can just let it go.
Touchdown scores. Jalen Hurts is obviously the leader of the clubhouse for tush push, but they got. It's weird. They got to get there. They got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard all listed for touchdowns, but they don't have receiving props for them. That's interesting that they don't have them up yet. Yeah, I'm the same. This just be a teaser game for me. There's not one line that screams, that we have an advantage.
Now you can spend your money better on any of the other games if you want to throw an extra point on something. If you want an extra whatever prop on any of the other games, I would take over this one.
Yeah. All right, so that is the slate. Any closing remarks? Any other things you're looking for this weekend?
Man. I mean,
just go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills. But you know what? I know I'm against the Browns this week, but wouldn't you just love the Browns to go up against the Ravens next week?
Yeah.
I would love if it's going to happen. I want them to beat them. I want them to go in and then beat the Ravens, and that would just make me the happiest person because I have trashed Flacco so much. So much over the years because of my brother being a Ravens fan and always elite Joe Flacco. Oh, I would love it. I would love it because I would just dish it right back to him. But I don't see it happening. But it'd be great.
I got one question for you. If the Bills lose, is Sean McDermott fired?
No, weather game. It's hard to rally the guys. They've gotten into the playoffs when they didn't think people were calling them out 5 weeks ago.
Don't you think
off of the wins?
Don't you think they've plateaued with McDermott though? That it's now they got to make some noise or not?
Yeah, they have.
So I feel like the Bills they've underachieved in the playoffs last 3 years. I feel like they gotta do something. And this is the year because KC is not what they were.
But the Ravens have taken it.
I know the Ravens
always take somebody else's place. Everyone's always coming in being that team. And
there's no Cincy this year either. In theory, this should be the Bills' year. but
It can.
it does.
It
Yeah,
could be, but if they lose this game, I mean, it's hard to fire them, but it's we'll see. We haven't
Belichick,
seen it. We haven't seen a change. Yeah, Belfort. Well, that's
Vrabel,
kind of set. That's semi
Vrabel,
mutual. Vrabel
Vrabel
was
kind of seems
surprising.
like a Bills coach. He kind of seems like a Bills coach.
Yeah,
I could
that would
see
be
Vrabel.
interesting.
Yeah,
The
Carroll.
Patriots were picking up Mayo today, which
Yeah,
I was a little shocked. He's the youngest coach down in the league, and he has 5 years experience as a DB coach.
yeah.
Like,
I
like
was,
I was
I
like,
was
all right, all
surprised
right.
too. Yeah,
So
but
that
they
means
must know what they're
Vrabel.
doing.
So what they had to have asked Vrabel. You got to think that some phone call came
Yeah,
across, and it was a
did they at
hard no.
least?
There's got to be a hard no there.
Yeah,
Someone said hard no because you got to think he is a Patriot. He would come back. Kraft would bring him back. But if he's not into the team and wants to go to a better situation, Vrabel and Buffalo would be something. I could say that if they lose. If they don't lose,
yeah,
they keep going on. Then I don't think it's going to be a thing.
yeah. I could see. Well, how patient's your owner?
Well, he's a Buffalo Sabres
Terry,
owner too.
right?
So
Yeah.
Pagula.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just saying, like he must like the Bills window has
If you
been
could
open
watch,
for a while now, like, and they
yeah, if you
haven't
could
done it.
watch
You know what
these
I mean?
two teams for all these years that he
Yeah,
owns, uh, he's patient. Yes, he
yeah,
wants to see some change. We know it. Obviously, you can see what he's done.
yeah,
Both teams right now are building up to something, um,
yeah.
but he's patient with them.
All
So,
right.
but at the same time, hey, crazy things. Look at already. Look at all the coach
Well, I know, and that's the thing.
firings.
And like that's the other thing too, right? Like there are some coaches on the market that I think people didn't expect to be there. So it's
No,
like you're
no.
looking at your coach being like, should I make a move? And like Jim
It'll be how.
Harbaugh is potentially available. Like there's some names.
Yeah,
There's some names.
yeah, and that literally only happening if they go out this if. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's a weather game. It's hard to fire a guy after a weather game because
But to Pittsburgh
it's
though, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Oh my God,
Pittsburgh,
just keep.
Mason Rudolph. If you lose to Mason Rudolph, I'll call it right now. If Bills lose to Mason Rudolph, I don't care about the weather. McDermott's gone. He's gone.
If they lose to the defense, though, they don't lose. If
Can't
it's a
can't
defensive
can't,
scores, if
can't
Mason
lose that
Rudolph
game.
does nothing all game, and then Pittsburgh wins this game, is their defense gets the points in my mind.
And McDermott should still be fired. That the fact that Josh Allen couldn't score more than the other team's defense. He'd be gone.
Yeah.
I think the Bills crushed, but I'm just saying if they lay an egg, I think changes are coming.
Yeah, it could. I don't see
Yeah.
the loss happening though. Like I said, I think it's low, it's tight, but I don't see the Bills losing this one.
Yeah. All right, so we have been rambling enough. That will do it for us. Hopefully, maybe we can do this live next week before the next slate of games.
Yep.
Let us know in the comments if there's anyone watching what your plays are for the week, and we'll see you all next week.